Soyeon is a genius. Used to be like saying water is wet, obviously, but in recent years, for a plethora of reasons, more and more people have started to question her genius.
Can we start acknowledging that Soyeon hasn't done a good song in a while? Overall, the newly rebranded i-dle came back with recycled sounds from 2014-17, continuing their musical decline further, and at this point, I feel embarrassed listening to them. Also, I'm still pissed about the way the rebranding was done. Soyeon, you keep disappointing me in all aspects. Soyeon has one style of production truly, like it's kind of predictable. The downfall of Soyeon's production needs to be studied. Someone please humble Soyeon. She can't keep doing shit like this. This group cannot be the same that made hot. Soyeon has the Midas touch, but it turns everything into feces.
In today's video, I'll do my best to really unpack the genius of Soyeon. Was she ever a genius in the first place? If so, has she fallen off so badly that she no longer deserves the title? Well, let's see. The reason Soyeon was ever seen as a genius boils down to one simple thing, which is the fact that she can do it all. She's a rapper, singer, songwriter, producer, performer. She is the biggest reason why i-dle is as successful as they are right now. Without her, i-dle literally would have never debuted. And what sets her apart furthermore is the fact that she doesn't just do, she excels. As a producer and songwriter, she's not only responsible for some of the biggest hits of her generation in Tomboy, Nude, Queen Card, etc., but also for artistically A-level tracks like Hwa, Han, Lion, Oh My God, etc. As a rapper, she's easily one of the greatest i-dle rappers of all time, even beyond the i-dle sphere. She's someone who has taken interest in rap since elementary school, and it shows. She has great sense of flow, her delivery is loud and clear in Korean, and she's also a great lyricist, again, mainly in Korean, but even in English. Despite a clear drop in quality, she always finds a way to get people's attention, and that, like it or not, is a skill in itself. As a singer, she's adequate, and as a performer, she's one of the best in her generation. All things considered, her genius title seems like a no-brainer. Yeah. No. Let's go back to her genius as a producer slash songwriter. As you can see here, there's something that separates these two categories of songs other than the category itself, and that is the year 2022. All of her biggest hits are made after 2022, and most of her artistically A-level songs predate 2022. I'm saying most for the artistically A-level songs because I know how subjective it is. I personally think there's an exception to be made for two post-2022 songs in Nude and X-File, which in my opinion are artistically A-level songs, and for you, there might be even more exceptions. Some of you might view Tomboy to be as good or better than Lion, to which I say, more power to you, and God bless your ears. But I think we can all agree to the fact that post-2022, Soyeon has been following the typical K-pop formula, which tends to put extra attention and care to solely the title track and one or two other B-sides, which artistically is not a positive trajectory coming off their last project before 2022, which was a cohesive body of work that can be listened to from beginning to end in I Burn. And the obvious question to all of this is, why? And the obvious answer would be Soojin, or more accurately, the aftermath of Soojin. See, after Soojin's departure, many people wrote i-dle off. The pressure was on for Soyeon and i-dle to basically not flop. But instead of backing down, Soyeon did a Jesus by turning that exact same pressure into fuel. She ended up creating an album which theme revolves around this overwhelming confidence from i-dle that screams three words: I can't lose! These three words became the heartbeat of the entire comeback, hence the album title, I Never Die. Hence the album teaser where we can hear Minnie repeating the phrase, I can't lose, in 5 different fonts. As we all know, Soyeon proved people wrong. And more. and more and more and more. I Never Die became by far their most successful comeback at the time. The title track Tomboy became their first ever perfect all kill, and if I'm not mistaken, it was only the second perfect all kill achieved by a 4th gen group. People who had zero clue who i-dle was before are now having philosophical discussions on the genius of, I don't want to play this ping pong. I would rather film a TikTok. Your mom raised you as a prince, but this is queendom, right? But all of this success, as you saw, came with a cost, which is the abandonment of the sound and identity Soyeon had so beautifully honed in i-Burn. Instead of curating a cohesive body of work, she decided to take a more digestible approach in I Never Die, incorporating mainly pop rock elements, which at the time, thanks to O-Rod, and in K-pop, Yena was really in trend. But they didn't go all in with this pop rock sound, as the album still contains 2 slower tempo songs that feels really out of place, and Polaroid and Escape, a random trap song thrown at the end of the album in My Back. But then you still have songs like Already and Villain Dies, which possess those dark i-dle characteristics I personally love. Overall, there was a clear formula that was starting to take form in I Never Die. And this formula revolves around songs that leans more towards camp, tacky production, and overuse of corny English lyrics or lyrics that doesn't make sense in general, vocal deliveries that are delivered intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know to be honest, in a way that can get jarring real fast, a rap verse from Soyeon that lacks the substance we all know she's capable of, and yeah, that's pretty much the basis. That's why, despite the objective success they received with this comeback, a good amount of people were disappointed. Myself not included. See, the way I saw it at the time was, i-dle
Has never been a group that was shy to changing things up.
in fact, that was kind of their whole thing, changing things up. So I thought, okay, this is fun and different, but different should be expected in an i-dle comeback. What matters is the fact that they're more successful than ever before. Who am I to complain? After this, they're obviously going to continue the artistic momentum they had going on in i-Burn. Yeah, they never did. Instead, Soyeon became obsessed with the formula she found in I Never Die. And I think the fact that her genius title had already been cemented in most people's mind prior to 2022 provided the comfortability for her to just have fun and go for the charts, which is what she's been doing ever since I Never Die. In 2025, i-dle is now mostly known for being tacky, for being a group that prioritizes aesthetics over everything else. And to be fair, the signs were there with I Never Die. The fact that the team of itself existed only in the album title and teaser, the fact that the sound, visuals, and feel we got in the teasers was the 180 of the actual sound, visuals, and feel we got in the actual album should have been clear warning signs. Having already been in the industry for 7 years now, their best work is still i-Burn, and i-Burn is by no means a complete project. It's literally an EP. It's only 18 minutes long and there's still so much flaw to it. But the sound was there, the aesthetics was there, the feel to it all was there. But unfortunately, Soyeon has never explored any of it ever since, other than in their visuals, which are often grander than it needs to be. And this is the problem with Soyeon. Throughout her career, she has never made an artistically cohesive project that runs longer than 18 minutes. i-dle's lengthiest project is still I Never Die, which is only 24 minutes long, and in terms of quality is not even close to i-Burn. Soyeon has never built a world for her songs and messages to exist in. It's always been project to project, title track to title track, rumah ke rumah. And I know that this is not an exclusively Soyeon thing, it's mainly a K-pop issue, but as someone who takes pride in being different, she has never went the extra mile and really make something different. Other than the fact that most of their songs have messages behind it, and them being a self-made, self-produced group, there's not much to differentiate i-dle from your usual K-pop group. It's hard to call Soyeon a genius artist when she's never made an artistically cohesive project that's longer than 18 minutes. It's hard to call Soyeon a genius artist when she's never made a good album. The second reason why people call Soyeon a genius are the messages she often puts in her music. In Tomboy, she talks about the concept of gender and how she thinks people cannot and shouldn't be defined simply by the binary expression of feminine or masculine. In Nude, she talks about how men over-sexualize women, seeing women as mere objects and not actual human beings with actual thoughts or interests. In Queen Card, she talks about self-love. In Allergy, she talks about the negative impact social media has on women's beauty standards, and so on. Even outside of music, she's someone who often speaks out on issues surrounding the industry. Just November last year, she talked about how bullshit the dating and smoking rules in K-pop are. And yeah, I love this side of Soyeon. I think it's great. I disagree when people say it's performative or when they say,
she's trying too hard to portray this girl boss feminist image.
Whatever that means. Listen, I am a man, so take this with a grain of salt. But, in my opinion, Soyeon's existence alone is women empowerment. You got to understand, the K-pop industry and Korea in general doesn't respect women the same way they respect men. The ones in charge for your favorite groups, girl or boy, are mostly men. Soyeon, as a woman who, according to the media, doesn't have the best looks, came in and forced everyone to look at her. She did not have the backing that of a big tree. Instead, she had one of the worst backings in the industry in Cube Entertainment. Everything that she have accomplished in her career is not because of, it's in spite of. And you have to acknowledge and respect that, especially if you're a woman. And the fact is, most of i-dle's music are written and or produced by Soyeon, a woman, which makes most of their music, even the ones that are not explicitly about women, more women empowering and feminist than carefully curated, politically correct, women-centered songs that are written and or produced by men. Now, does a song being made by Soyeon with a message of empowering women or challenging prejudice in general automatically make the song good? No, because good intent does not equal good result. And the fact that these messages are always song to song and has never been cohesively put in one lengthy project is not ideal. But one thing it is and will always be is brave. That's why it especially surprised me seeing someone as socially conscious and brave as Soyeon still choose to anchor the debut of Baby Don't Cry, a group consisting of 4 girls, 3 of whom are minors, and the oldest being only 19. Soyeon knows how weird and dangerous the K-pop industry is for female idols, especially when you're underage. She literally made Nude, a song that acknowledges the number of perverts roaming around out there and how there's nothing a woman can do to stop perverts from being perverts. With that in mind, the fact that she still chose to anchor the debut of Baby Don't Cry is mind-boggling. And to make it worse, in a teaser for the music video of their song titled F-Girl, which is short for Fantastic Girl, I hope, but that's still weird because they're minors, whatever. There's a scene where one of the members buy what appears to be a condom. I say appears for legal reasons. You have a brain, you be the judge. She then opens it and puts whatever was in that packaging in her mouth. Now, is there a bigger message behind this? Maybe, but even if there is, using minors to deliver that message is not the right way to do it. Now, to be clear, I don't exactly know how involved Soyeon was in the making of the music video and this particular scene, but she is the creative director and is both the producer and writer for the group. Ultimately, the biggest problem I have with this group is how mediocre they are. From their music to their concept, they are the definition of uninspired. The members themselves are nothing special. They're not producers or writers or rappers like Soyeon. They're just idols. which is fine. But considering how much Soyeon has emphasized throughout her career the importance of idols having talent, you'd expect more than just fine. You'd expect special or different. Two things we haven't gotten from Soyeon in quite some time. Obviously, in the future, who knows? Maybe she'll help put talented idols who genuinely care about music and art on the map. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if she were to start her own company and end up committing the same crimes all these other companies are committing. When I say crimes, I'm referring to music crimes, though. As someone who used to be very adamant on her genius title, I'm at a point now where I no longer feel any type of way towards people who don't consider her a genius because of 1, her tendency to lean into corny stuff in general, 2, her inability to build a world for her songs and messages to exist in, 3, her work in i-dle, which has only been declining in quality ever since i-dle, 4, her involvement with Baby Don't Cry are all valid reasons to not call her a genius. But at the same time, I also wouldn't be mad if you were still to call her a genius. I still think she's a genius. At the end of the day, she is a woman whose success in the industry has and will continue to show young girls who want to become idols that talent matters, and that as artists, women can not only be on par with men, but even better. She could retire now and none of that would change. With that being said, I do not think of her the same way I think of someone like Lauryn Hill. She's more like an Azealia Banks, very talented, but despite having been in the industry for more than 7 years now, we still haven't seen her at her fullest artistic potential. Her best work is still I Burn, and considering the direction she's taken with i-dle, there's a strong chance it will always be I Burn. But I'm not going to count her out because 1, unlike Azealia Banks, she's not crazy, and 2, in terms of ability, she hasn't fallen off. Everything she's doing now is a stylistic and artistic choice. And I get it. It works. I mean, just look at the numbers. But artistically, to put it simply, is unfortunate. I can't wait to see someone comment, actually, water is not wet. Well, actually, you're a nerd. And not in a cool, trendy Kendall Jenner way, but in a derogatory way.